I can choose myself and it's okay. It's same thing with the boundary. Like it's okay to choose myself instead. It's not mean. It's not unkind. What's mean and unkind is how I'm being treated and how I'm allowing myself to be treated. So it's like, what do you want to do, Triana? Do you want to stay or do you want to choose yourself this time? And as hard as it was, I chose myself. And when I chose myself, that's when it's like, all that hard work I did on myself, it was like, okay, she gets it now. She's like, she's paying attention. And I believe that is why, like, the doors started opening up. I
Yeah.
started getting more signs and synchronicities that you're on the right path. I felt, and I forgot to share that part with you too. I actually felt like when I would sit, it was like if you could see like the universe around you, if we could
Yeah.
physically see it, it was like this cosmic, colorful energy that was just like pouring into my body. And it was
Wow.
like the things that I really asked for that I wanted to manifest for myself. It's like those are possible now.
Welcome to the Create Happy Now podcast, dedicated to helping you start your journey to discover true happiness. Join me, your host, Susan Blanton, weekly as we explore the transformation stories and words of wisdom from our masters of happiness with tips you can start applying today to create happy now. Hey, this is Susan Blanton with the Create Happy Now podcast. And before I introduce my next guest, let me share something truly exciting with you. Are you ready to embark on a journey to a life filled with happiness, abundance, peace, purpose, and say yes to life every day? Then say yes and get the new Create Happy Meditations app coming out in just a couple of weeks. It all begins with quieting your mind. That's why I've created the Create Happy Meditations app. Our app introduces you to the Moment Maker's Happy Method, a transformative approach to living your best life. First, we guide you in calming your mind with a personalized meditation practice. Then it's about discovering and loving yourself, unlocking those obstacles to your peace and purpose. And finally, we dive into the art of manifesting, attracting abundance and fulfillment into your life. Now, we offer 3 levels of membership. The first level provides access to tailored meditations and a growing library of guided practices. Upgrade to the silver level for a deeper self-discovery. And the gold package, the juiciest package, is the complete Moment Maker's Happy Method. Just like me, our users have manifested their dreams after mastering the Happy Method. And here's an exclusive offer for you. Sign up for the Create Happy Meditations waiting list before we go live, and you'll receive 20% off the gold package forever. Plus, enjoy continuous updates and direct access to me as part of this gold package. Don't miss out on this opportunity to create your happiest life. Visit www.createhappynow.com and go to the apps tab and sign up today. Let's start this journey together. Create Happy Meditations, your path to a life with happiness, abundance, peace, purpose, and say yes to life every day. Now, my next guest is Trianna Lewis. Trianna is an intuitive spiritual healer and a coach helping women and men to come back home to themselves so that they can do what they desire and live the life of their dreams. And today, Trianna and I will be diving into how discovering yourself is a key to loving yourself, and loving yourself opens your flow to receiving more of what you desire in life. Today, my guest is Trianna Lewis. And Trianna, I am so glad that you're here today. We met, was it 5 years ago? 5 years ago in
Yeah.
2019, right? In
Yes.
Sedona. We were
Yes.
roommates.
We were. We were.
Yeah, yeah. And so I'm so glad that you're here today. And we've had some time to catch up, and I'm so excited for your journey. And I really wanted to share that with my listeners. And so let's just go ahead and dive right in and tell me about your journey.
Well, my journey started, let's see, excuse my throat, is pollen is like it's happening out here in
It
Georgia.
just started today,
Yeah.
right?
My journey actually started in, oh wow, it's been a long 12 years ago. Let's say 2000, I know it was 2012. My
Okay.
journey actually really started to happiness and finding myself. I was at a place, I had been in a relationship, and it was just the lowest I've ever felt about myself. I was trying so hard. We had moved in together and it just did not work out. After that, it was just I got laid off. All of it happened within that 6 months. Relationship ended, got laid off, had to move back in with my parents, and I didn't know what to do with myself or my life at all. I was really depressed. When I moved back home, I couldn't. My parents were like, "You sleep here. You can't." I couldn't have my room back. It was really really bad. So it's kind of like I was just lost. There was nothing else left to take from me.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do. I stayed like that for a good couple months and I was just like, what's the point of like my life? There's like nothing's happening. I'm not wanted. It was just like a whole I was 20, I was 21 and then yeah, I turned 22. So
That's a
it's just
hard
I didn't know what to
age
do.
to go
Yeah.
through for everybody. The
Yeah.
20s. I don't know if I'd ever want to go back to my 20s again.
Yeah, no, me either. No. Yeah, it was really difficult. And then it just so happened that the same clock that my father actually has now, it kept showing up as 11:11. And I was like, every time I would turn around, I would catch the clock at that. I was like, me at that time, I was like, it must mean like death or something like that. I
Oh
didn't know what it meant.
gosh,
I know
wrong. It
my
made you
thoughts were
look,
really,
didn't it? It made you
it
look.
did. Yeah, my thoughts were kind of really low at that point. And then finally something like sparked within me to just go look it up on Google. I was like, what does this mean? And when I looked it up, it was like spiritual awakening, like your soul is telling you it's time. I was like, I don't understand, but something kept drawing me into that world. And from there, it went from me learning about numerology and then astrology. And the really crazy thing is, I always actually like that stuff. I like reading my horoscope and I like learning different things. And when I think back on it, I had books that were about your higher self and stuff, but I didn't understand. I just bought them because they seemed pretty cool. But that was my soul like pre-speaking to me, I guess. And the journey from there, it was not easy. It was nowhere near easy.
Oh
I had
no.
to, yeah, right? You're the first person that's like, no, it's not. Because a lot of people kind of just skyrocket from there. Things just start to like magically happen.
Well,
But no,
maybe it appears to everybody else. They may not realize they're not sharing what they're
the,
actually going through internally, you know. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, it's a I agree. I'm gonna just want to like jump in at this point.
yeah,
Um, yeah, people who are on their spiritual awakening, um, you still have a lot more to face because the lighter is lighter and the darker is darker.
yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah,
so then you go, oh, the light's shining on the dark. I gotta get this cleaned up. And it's rough, but it's so rewarding. I'll let you continue.
yes, yeah. No, you are absolutely right. The darker part, it's like you said, some people don't really share all of that nitty gritty, which I think they should because it would help a lot of people not think that they're behind. That's
Yeah.
a
They
really
think they're
big thing.
regressing and I'm not good for this. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm bad at my spiritual awakening.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
and that's just so not true. It takes time. For me, it took me until from 22 till 28 when I really felt solid. Like I've got this, I'm good. Now I just know the different things that pop up. Now I know how to deal with them. It took me
Yeah.
a long time.
Because
Yeah.
things still pop up.
Yes.
Life pops
Yes,
up.
they do.
Okay.
It does.
But then you're like, okay, this too will pass, or maybe this is just a lesson for me. Maybe I'm supposed to like, observe this for a reason, or instead of beating
Yeah.
yourself up. I mean, there's still a little bit of that sometimes, but then you
Yeah.
catch yourself. You're better at catching yourself and bouncing back and figuring things
Yeah.
out than, going down a rabbit hole of depression and, self-loathing.
Yeah. That's very true. Yeah, I agree. That's very true. Between all that time, I had to really I think what it seems like it just depends on the person and like
Yeah.
what you came here to learn. But I know a
Yes.
lot of us, what triggers that awakening is the self-love. That's a big one that triggers the awakening. Me, I just kept getting into relationships. Well, it wasn't a lot, but I was trying to like get that love that I needed. And I knew nothing
Yes.
about self-love until I had the awakening. I knew nothing about that. Didn't know what it
Mhm.
was. I always thought that if somebody said you're beautiful or you were this and that, that meant you were, and if somebody said you weren't, then that means you weren't. Like it's just like the outside validation
Mhm.
was is that's not the way to go.
Or
Like
you're
we spoke on
selfish
earlier.
or vain or something
Yeah,
or egotistical, and
yeah,
that's not what we're talking about.
mm-mm,
Mhm.
not at all. Yeah, it's just that self-love part is I think that's what makes the journey so it's so rough because like I don't know. Well, along with learning how to love myself, there was just the like windows opened up for me in my eyes to see like I wanted more for my life. But what comes with that for a lot of us is like you have to reprogram your mindset, the subconscious thinking, the actions that you take, the way you act in the world. It's like a real, I
Mhm.
guess it's like what I like to think of it as in healing is like those Russian dolls. You take out one and there's another one, you take out another
There's
until you
another
get
one.
to the
Yeah.
actual you. That's how it is.
It's peeling the
Yeah.
onion layers,
Yeah.
for sure. And you don't know how you think you've done, and then there's another doll in there, or there's
Yeah.
another layer.
Yeah.
Oh, there's something else I gotta like, realize. And it's all about like discovering yourself, because
Yeah.
we are so complex in
Yes.
our thoughts and our feelings, and then not to mention our whole um environment is complex with everything coming at us
Yeah.
and the things we have to do and interact in the world. um so that's but I think it's much easier to
Mhm.
figure out yourself, because once you've got yourself figured out, then what environment you're in doesn't really matter that much anymore.
Yeah. That I agree with. That I 100% agree with. I'm still working on that. That's a journey within itself. Yeah,
Mhm.
but I definitely react differently. It's like I know how to pull back a bit. Like, okay, I don't this doesn't feel good. Let me figure out a way to I don't want to say shield myself, but just make sure that I'm okay in whatever
Mhm.
environment I'm in. Like there are tweaks you can do. You don't have to have I know sometimes we're talking about money. Money is a big thing. You got to shift your money mindset. And if you don't have the money to be able to pull yourself out of a situation to be somewhere totally new, there are shifts that you can make within that don't cost money. Like how can I distance my well, let's say if it's family members or coworkers, how can I find a way to like distance myself a bit from them to feel okay? But that requires the other part of the journey, learning how to set boundaries, because a lot of us, the boundaries are
That's
a big
huge.
one.
That's
Yeah, that's
huge. That's
yeah,
huge. That's probably the best place to start, is
yes,
setting, figure out what your values are and setting your boundaries according to your values.
hmm
How far will you go? Where do you draw the line in the sand, and how to express it? I think that's what a
yeah,
lot of people have trouble, is expressing their boundaries without, you know, making somebody mad or thinking
yeah,
that you're being unreasonable. But sometimes you just have to go, this is my boundaries, take it or leave it, that this is what is um what I need. This is
yeah,
um I mean, I have I have had to do some major shifting in that, because I used to, someone would ask me something and I would like, okay, okay, yes, yes, yes,
yeah,
yes. I had a hard time saying no.
yes,
Yeah. And
yeah,
then
same.
there's nothing left of you. when you keep
Yes.
saying yes all the time. Because then people just assume you're going to say yes, and then they get upset if you say no. But if the first time you say no, then they're like, well, but what's wrong with you? Like,
Yeah.
or why are you not letting, why aren't you doing it now? Why, you've always done this? Why not now? And so that's a hard thing to get used to. We got to start somewhere,
Yeah.
and make sure it is a reasonable boundary, and your boundaries are going to shift,
Yeah.
and they might get tighter, they might get looser.
Yeah.
You just have to figure out what's good for you. But yeah, I mean, that is a huge self-love step.
Yes. It's very big. I know, same thing for me. Boundaries are really hard to do. It's because you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. And what I like to believe, which I feel is true, a lot of us we're really good people. So our boundaries they're not unreasonable. It's
Hmm.
just like this is what I need to be able to help myself and help you. Like so we can and for you to help yourself,
Right.
it's boundaries are a big one and they're very hard to implement when you just like you said, you're just so used to saying yes because you want to be nice and you want to please everybody, but that just takes too much of you. It's like, and then you're mad at yourself because you said yes to something you didn't really want to. So it's just like when you do set a boundary, it just you got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's like
Yeah.
saying no, you just like, nope. And you don't need to give, that's something I used to do, always give like a reason why I'm saying, no, you don't have to
Hmm.
have the reason. You don't have to explain to them. And most of the time, which that's something that upsets me a bit. That's why I guess I've always been like that too. I always pay attention to people because you can tell when somebody's struggling with like speaking up and stuff. And I'll just like, hey, what do you have to say? It's like I pay attention to people because I know how it feels. So it's
Right.
like I like to give people that space to be in their power and to like give themselves a chance. But some people, which I've found, which I really don't like, is they see it and they take advantage. It's not like they don't know and they're upset. When the boundary's there, they know, but they're just, well, let me because they're just focused on themselves. And
Right.
that's difficult. That part's actually difficult.
And I think one of the reasons why we say yes most of the time is because we worry about what other people think.
Yes. Hmm.
And that was a huge step for me because I grew up with, I mean, my mother, God love her. I mean, she just knew what she knew. But
Yeah.
she was always saying, well, what do you think people are going to think? What you're going to wear this? Well, what do you think people are going to think about that? Are you, if you do this, what are people going to think? And,
Yeah.
that's just a programming that got set pretty deep in me for the longest time. And
Yeah.
that was a hard one to unravel. I mean, it's still kind of a programming that's underlying in there somewhere that you have to keep overriding.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to override a program in certain circumstances. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's a huge one, I think, too.
Yeah. I can actually speak to two things on that, which is something new I found just a couple years ago. But the worried about what people think, that was a big part of the self-love for me too. Like my hair, I'm natural now, but before, like I know in African American community for women, like straight hair, just straighten your hair, having it blown out is just like a big thing. It's like one of the best things. So relaxers were really huge. My
Yeah.
mother, same thing. She would be like, as I started growing my hair out, it was just it was a part of my spiritual journey. Like this is like how I was created to be. I love the versatility of my hair. But my mother, when I first started, she would be like, "Oh, your hair, like, why do you have to have it out like that? People are gonna like look at it." And it kind of messed up my self-esteem a little bit because I'm still learning self-love and how to put myself out there as myself fully.
Yeah.
And I would have to deal with kind of like, should I just put it up or should I just like blow it out or just put a hat on? And I'd be like, no, I'm just gonna be myself because I love how it looks and it's such a long journey with natural hair. You have to find product. It took a long time. I was like, no, I've been and it's like coming back home to myself.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I'm gonna just keep doing it anyway. And I just would do my best to ignore what she would say or anything like that. Cause I was like, she worries about that stuff, but I know it's not authentic and it's not going to be okay for me if I keep doing what everybody else wants me to do. So
Right. And
I
you
had
can
to,
do what
yeah,
you want to
yeah,
yourself. I mean, it doesn't mean that you have to be all natural. If you
yeah,
want your hair to be a certain color because you just like how it looks on you,
yeah,
then do
like that,
it.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Or you want to change, like, so I know I have several people that wear wigs and
yeah,
they're just trying out something new every time. I'm like, I, I had thought that might be kind of cool, but I just don't. I mean, I really don't like to wear hats that often. I do. I'm starting to get used to that, but
yeah,
I don't like anything on my head that much, to be honest. Um,
yeah,
but I always think it would be kind of cool to change your look up just for
yeah,
fun, just I
yeah,
think we should not not create how we look because everybody else expects us to
yes,
do something. We
hmm,
do what we I mean, if you want your hair to be green, go be green.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know. That's what you like, that's what you want to do, that's your expression of yourself. Then go
hmm,
be that expression of yourself. Don't try to be something that you don't want to be.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I agree with that 100%. I've seen so many people do all kinds of things and it's just like, "Ooh, that'd be so cool." And then like, well, that's not my thing, but I love that on that person. It's just like you just kind of it's nice when people are just you can see people being themselves. That kind of inspires you to be yourself too. Which is really cool. The other part to that, when you said about the mindset and reprogramming, I actually, with what I do, theta healing. I don't know if you've ever heard of theta healing. Have you?
No, not
That is
specifically.
actually that's been a game changer. I will say it's another
Really?
form of energy healing, but it
Okay.
works on reprogramming your programming.
Oh,
And
nice. Well, we could all
yes,
use that, right?
yeah, yeah,
So
I've
do tell. Do tell.
it is really amazing, I must say.
Okay.
I think the way it came to me, because again, it was a choice and it was like a opportunity for me to step outside the box or just keep going. It was like either way, you're okay either way. And I was like, let me try it. I was attuned to it, and my spiritual teacher, and there's a girl that I follow too that's a healer. She's really awesome and she's really good. You just like kind of go up into the creator of all that is what they call it, and
Hmm.
then it's like they'll scan your body and they'll be like, okay, well, they'll get to the actual bottom belief. So I guess an example could be with the self-love. Like you're having a hard time loving yourself. So where did that actually come from? It could have came from like feeling like you're not worthy, or you don't think that you're lovable. Why don't you think you're lovable? It just goes all the way down to you get to that root belief. And they pull out the root belief on whatever level it's on within your body and being,
Hmm.
and then they drop a new belief in saying like you love yourself. It's more complex than, well, I mean, I won't say it's complex, but the wording comes from the creator.
Mm,
You feel it in your body. And then once they reprogram, you'll actually feel the shift and your
really
mindset changes. After you're done with the session, you actually feel and think differently. It's just like it happens like that. But the beautiful
nice.
thing about that is you have control over the conversation because they can't do anything. We can't reprogram
Without
your mind or
permission,
anything. Yeah, without
right? You
permission.
have
So
to
they
get
ask.
permission, but
Yeah.
you also
Well,
have to believe. You have to
that
believe that that would work. I mean, because you're,
it that depends too. That actually depends too. Because the belief that you don't believe that can be shifted. So it's like
well, yes, yeah,
yeah,
I
it's
suppose, yeah.
but I guess people who don't believe they wouldn't even
They
try
wouldn't.
to
They
go to
wouldn't even do
they
it,
wouldn't even
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
they wouldn't even do it. But yeah, that's been something that's been really unique. It shows you, even if you don't do it, it just shows you me just telling you and telling everybody that watches your channel. It's like even if you don't do that, you have the awareness now that you are really that powerful to
Hmm.
change your beliefs. Even you don't have to do theta healing. You can just do your affirmations or just be inspired to believe like I really can shift myself, because you really can with doing something like that, or just like doing it on your own. You really can shift your beliefs, and think differently.
So the one way method that I had used to change some of my core beliefs
Yeah.
was to, if there was something I didn't like, why did I do that? And then I would
Yeah.
answer it. And then once came to that answer, I would say, well, why do I do that?
Yeah.
And then I just kept going down until, well, that's silly. And as soon as it was like the
Yeah.
silly reason, it was gone.
Yeah.
It was gone.
Yeah.
Now it takes a minute to think through that. And there's a lot
Yeah.
of focusing and thinking about things that you may not want to think about. So you have to
Yeah.
be in the mental mindset to be ready to do that.
Oh yeah.
But you can do it on any kind of belief. Well, why do you believe that? Why do you believe that? Well, why? Well, why? Well, why? Well, why? And well, that could never happen. So why are you worried about it now? Um,
Yeah.
I did that over and over and over again to get rid
Mhm.
of stuff. And it was pretty quick,
Yeah.
I mean, some things you'd have to try over and over again,
Yeah.
because maybe it was
That's
just a
true.
deep-seated belief, or it might show up in a different way and
Yeah.
go, okay, well, now here's the situation, same belief, but and then you just do it again. So that was a huge game changer for me. But I'm
Yeah.
totally like interested in this theta healing. Um,
Yeah.
so it was some woman that did this for you, or something that she taught you how to do, or
Yeah, my spiritual teacher taught me, the woman who well, I guess yeah, who got downloaded with just creating theta healing. Her name is
mm,
Viana. I have her book right there. Stibble? I think that's her name, Viana Stibble.
oh,
Oh,
okay.
that's what I want to say. I can share it with you too. So if you want to put it down in the like
Yeah, I
description
can
box
put
too,
it in the
she's awesome. Yeah,
nice.
she's really cool. They have like a whole website with the database. You can find a theta healer in your area, or just like, just look around and kind of see how you feel about it. But anybody can learn it. It's non-denominational. So it's just
Okay.
something, if you want to have it for yourself, you can do.
Is it
Um,
like a certification or
yeah,
just you learn it? Okay.
yeah, it's definitely a certification.
Hmm.
It's beautiful. It's another one of those things that, since my path was spiritually based, it's another one of those things that help you to come into yourself and be attuned to yourself. And the beautiful thing, it's like the manifestation part too. You can create from that state.
Hmm.
There's a lot of history. There's a lot of like medical work and just like proven things about being in a theta state, period.
Oh,
So
yes.
it's like, yeah, just being able to go up even deeper, I would say, because you're connected to the creator and you connect to yourself. It's a lot with it, the different things that she goes through, but I think it's something that's been beneficial to me, especially receiving the healings and just being able to witness how people do it. Yeah, it's something really beautiful, and it's worth like checking out.
Did you become certified, or you just learned?
No, yeah, no, I'm certified.
Oh,
I'm
awesome.
certified in level 1 and 2, but there's
Okay.
like, yeah, I think you have to go up to a certain level to be able to teach it, but I'm just not there yet. I don't know
Yeah.
if I want to go that deep because I have Reiki too, and that's my thing. I really enjoy Reiki. So yeah, but it's beautiful work. Mhm.
So tell us a little bit more about your journey. So
Yeah,
what
yeah.
was the pivotal point where you felt like you were on the upswing? I mean, there's when you're a spiritual journey, you go down the rabbit hole of trying to figure things out, and then all of a sudden you have
Mhm.
that aha moment, and then you're like, oh, I mean, you still kind of have your ups and downs, but the aha moment kind of gets you through the next phase. So what was that like?
Yeah, I think my aha moment came at 27. Yeah, I think it came at 27. That's when I had powering through him from 2012 to 2017. I was in New York. I went to college in New York, stayed with my family up there, my dad's side, and I had a lot of healing shifts and transformation. That's where I found Reiki, and well, Reiki found me anyway, and all that stuff happened. But I was actually in the college, and I was coming from work because I got to work in the college, which was great.
Mhm.
And I happened to be walking down the same path that I walk down every day coming from school just to get on the bus. And I just had this moment of like this download. And it was just like, is this what you really want to be doing with your life? And it just came out of nowhere. And I was like thinking about it because I was on track to be psychologist and all that stuff. And I was just like, I don't really want to do it. And that spiritual like seed opened up. I was like, I don't really want to be in a facility, and just the way everything was, it's just like everything is kind of already set. You can't, oh, I mean, once you get to a point where you could decorate your office the way you want to, but until then, it's like I got to follow these rules. I got to do this. And I was like, I don't want to do that. And I was like, this is not me. So
Yeah.
I chose in that moment. I was like, when I got back to my grandmother's house, I chose to leave. I was like, I think I'm going to leave school and I'm going to start this business because this is what I really like doing. I like healing people in this way. I like being able to be free and be myself. And there was still much learning to do after that, but that was the pivotal moment. And it just so happened like my dad was coming up, my brothers and dad came up to visit, and I went back with them just to stay for like my mini vacation. And I asked for signs when I came back to Georgia. I saw the numbers, the repeating numbers. I saw there was some animal signs I saw too. I was like, yeah, no. I was like, I think it's okay to come back now. So yeah,
I,
that was my moment.
I
Mhm.
call those breadcrumbs, that
Okay.
the universe gives you. And some people get them and they're not looking.
Yeah.
They're not calming their mind or asking for it.
Yeah.
Or they're asking for it and then not realizing it's a breadcrumb. So it's more of, I mean, the 1111 was definitely something that it still happens today. It
Yeah.
just, like, oh, there it is. Yeah. I don't know how many screenshots I
Yeah.
have of 1111 on my phone. And it's kind of a reminder that yeah, this is what you're supposed to be doing. It's kind of like it's a little bit of a validation.
Yeah.
Or maybe you need to look at the situation a little bit more. It's just kind of a tap on the shoulder,
Yeah.
or breadcrumb or whatever you want to call it, permission slip that uh something needs to be observed, or you're on the right path, or
Yeah.
good job. like
Yeah. Yeah.
I like to have this is another thing that when you finally get kind of on the upswing of your journey and you're starting to
Yeah.
feel like more of a connection to your inner wisdom, however you want to
Yeah.
describe that, be your higher self or God or whatever. It's all you, but it's a connection to something bigger of yourself, because not all of yourself
Yeah.
is in here. It's you've got a helper that's part of you,
Yeah.
that can see things from a higher perspective, a different perspective. Um,
Yeah.
and I believe that, when you have, I don't know, doubts, or you have a fork in the road, and you're trying to make a decision, um, that's the most important thing that you have to kind of let go, and not try to make that decision on your own.
Yeah.
Relax and try to see if you can ask, like you did, ask for
Yeah.
a sign, ask for some breadcrumbs on which way you're supposed to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Um, and one thing that I discovered several years ago is automatic writing.
Okay. Yes.
And it got to the point where it was like, we get some paper, right now. Like,
Yes.
okay. And I mean, and then I go back and read them, and I knew it wasn't for me because I don't remember writing it.
Hmm.
I don't remember writing it, and the wisdom was way above what I would have told myself to do.
Yeah.
But it's being aware and allowing for that wisdom to show up in all different places. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
listening to somebody
Mhm.
that you might not normally think that they're full of wisdom, but something might come through them that gives you the wisdom you needed to hear audibly.
Yes.
And then they turn into like whatever they were before, and I'm like, well, where did that wisdom come from?
Yeah.
Have you ever had that happen? Someone says
Yes.
that to, and you're like, that's not how you normally say, but they just kind of like, it's like they channeled it and they didn't even know they were channeling it to tell you something that you needed to hear. And
Yeah.
then they go on and you're like, what? Like, they're not spiritual. Like,
I know.
why was it that amazing message just came out of their mouth?
Yes.
Um, so yeah, you've got to keep your eyes and your ears open for
Yeah.
those moments, and you'll have a knowing. And I think that's the thing is your intuition. This is, we're talking about your intuition, and you had just had a
Mhm.
reel about intuition not too long ago, right?
I believe I did. Yeah, I
Yeah.
have a couple. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, and I had last year about this time, well, a little over a year ago, I had
Hmm.
a intuitive masters of happiness conference, and we talked about intuition. And you intuition is a knowing. It is that that's right. That's
Yeah.
This is what I want. Like when you were walking through and you were going to school and it just stopped you.
Yeah.
Like, no, it was a knowing that this is
Hmm.
not my path.
Yes.
And it just like hits you by like a ton of bricks. Like, it can't be anything else. This is it. This is, I mean, some knowings are stronger than others, but
Yeah.
it's a no, no, you don't want to go this way. Stop, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, getting in tune with your intuition, your higher self, your inner knowing, your
Yes.
inner wisdom, your connection to God, whatever you want to call it, it's all about the same thing.
Yeah.
Um, and that is a way to really get to know yourself, discover yourself, and then to discover yourself, then your self-love kind of starts to kick in. Did you find
Yeah.
that out? Did that happen to you? Like, did that was that
Yeah, it was like I guess it was all happening all at once. Yeah, the more I started to uncover myself, the self-love was there and the intuition was there, which is big. Being able to be aware, you have to clear out all that stuff that's just old, that's not
noise?
true. Yeah, all that stuff. You have to clear it all out so you can be more aware of the signs and
Mhm.
be more present within yourself too. And then the self-love, it's like for me, like I said, it was just all tied, woven together. So it was difficult, but it's nice because it just kind of all was just like, here you go. You got to figure it all out together. But yeah, definitely part of the journey. And like I said, that's just something that I just really feel like you have to really sit with yourself and do that inner work so you can hear your intuition, so you can have those inner works. Because we're all intuitive. It just depends if you want to
Absolutely.
develop it or not. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, we all have a pituitary gland, and that is like the little gateway. So we all have this ability to tap into it.
Mhm.
Um, and it's just a choice to
Yeah.
just stop and listen. And sometimes it's just the one way I have practiced it is to take a day that I don't really have any major plans.
Mhm.
And then I just uh, what am I going to do next? And then wait for a thought to come in. Oh, I'll go do that. And you do it until like there's no nothing else to do. You finished doing it. Okay, now what? And then you wait for the next thing.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where I would lose something and it would help me find it. Um
Oh, that's
yeah.
actually really cool. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. As a matter of fact, I was at a mastery event last fall, and there was a couple. Everybody kept losing their things for some reason, and one of the people that had lost a significant item. She was like, "I don't know what to do," because she'd lost her keys to her rental car, and I said, "Just ask your intuition." And so she's like, okay." So then she decided to take my advice, and it told her to go look in her suitcase again, even though she'd looked through it several times. It just said, do it again. And she's like, okay. And there they were. And she came running back to my room and she goes, guess what? I did what you told me to do. And I found them. Um, yeah, and there's been times where I've been looking on the floor for something
Hmm.
and my intuition would say, look up. And I would just look up and then there it was. And I'd looked there
Yeah.
before and it wasn't
Yes.
there, but now it's there. It's almost creepy. But
Yeah,
that's how it works sometimes.
it is.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to play with it. To play
Yeah.
with it really. To
Yeah.
see how things kind of show up. Um, and it's amazing how like that can um feed into your ability to, understand the law of attraction. Because once you
Yes.
like start not trying so hard and asking, and then it tells you, okay, well, if you want this, you got to go do this,
Yeah.
and how to take action.
Yeah.
And then that'll lead you to, whatever you want. Um, and you've got to get clear on what you want. And it
Yeah.
can't come from lack. It can't come from, oh, I have to have this because if I don't, I won't be happy. The
Yeah.
law of attraction is not to be happy. Become happy first. And happy first is to learn how to love yourself and have that
Yeah.
relationship with who you really are.
Yeah.
And then everything else is gravy.
Yeah.
Right. We're here to explore and enjoy and live it up and create
Yeah.
things and discover things and love and be loved. That's
Yeah.
what we're meant to be here for. But we get in our own way. We
Yes,
get
that we do.
the worry that keeps us up at night, and then we've got
Yeah.
the self-loathing that we do, and we're frustrated, we're
Yeah.
kicking ourselves, or we're blaming other people or whatever. If we
Mhm.
can get past that, then the
Yeah.
world just really opens up. And you had mentioned earlier before we started the podcast today that you had some recent uh, epiphanies or shifts, like a paradigm shift, because we had talked about how discovering your love for yourself, how it can come deeper and deeper and in different layers, and you can change and go, gosh, I really have discovered more of this relationship with myself, and now things are opening up. So can you
Yeah.
share about some of the recent things that have been happening?
Yeah, the biggest shift, the biggest thing was leaving a relationship, choosing to leave a relationship with someone. To be really honest with y'all, I hadn't been in a relationship in 10 years. So
Mm,
it was the first one in 10 years. And I thought I actually really did pretty good, which I know I did. Things were totally different after I got to step away from it and actually look at myself and give myself some like props. Like I did the inner healing work that took so long and it was like, I could see the difference. I noticed like when you were just saying like going back deeper in and keep going deeper, like the self-love journey, you're not just like it takes a couple years, you're good to go. It's like a forever thing, to be really honest. Like you
Yeah.
got to keep going and keep learning. I think that when I look back on the relationship, I had realized that I was noticing like myself, which has never happened. So when you do take time to do in that deep self-love stuff, you start to be like aware. So you pull yourself out of situations that you keep finding yourself in. You're able to really pull yourself out and make a different choice.
Yeah.
I noticed that I was at a place, I was like, I've done this before. It just kind of started like having my little epiphanies. Like I've been with a man like this before where I felt the same way and stuff. I was like, this is old. I was
Mm,
like, I've done this already. I've been through this before. I don't have to go through it again. And
yeah.
it was simple, but it wasn't easy because I still had like some self-love stuff to keep like doing. But the point
Mm,
was that I was given the opportunity to have a choice. Like, do you want to stay and keep trying to have somebody catch up to you or help somebody else figure themselves out in a way that's like helping them to learn like, well, this is how I'm asking you to love me. You got to be able to do I have to teach somebody,
yeah.
or do I realize that I can choose myself and it's okay? Same thing with the boundary. Like it's okay to choose myself instead. It's not mean. It's not
Mm-mm.
unkind. What's mean and unkind is how I'm being treated and how I'm allowing myself to be treated. So it's like, what do you want to do, Trianna? Do you want to stay or do you want to choose yourself this time? And as hard as it was, I chose myself. And when I chose myself, that's when it's like all that hard work I did on myself, it was like, okay, she gets it now. She's paying attention. And I believe that is why, like, the doors started opening up. I
Yeah.
started getting more signs and synchronicities that you're on the right path. I felt, and I forgot to share that part with you too. I actually felt like when I would sit, it was like if you could see like the universe around you, if we could
Yeah.
physically see it, it was like this cosmic, colorful energy that was just like pouring into my body, and it was
Wow.
like the things that I really asked for that I wanted to manifest for myself, it's like those are possible now. It really didn't have to do with him. It was more about me choosing myself. So it's like when you say yes to yourself and you take actual physical actions, not just changing the thoughts, but actually changing the thoughts and taking the action, the positive action that goes with those thoughts. That's when life starts to shift because you're showing life and the creator physically that yes, I'm ready for this. Yes, I do
Right.
believe the stuff that I've learned. You're saying yes. So that was huge. Very huge.
Yeah, and you mentioned the synchronicity. That means that
Mhm.
um that's kind of you partnering with your higher self and them
Yeah.
going, okay, all right, I'm gonna let this show up for you. And then you go, oh, I see this. And so you start going in that direction. Um, or here's this opportunity, and I'm putting it in front of you, and you're like, okay, got it. Yes, I will do it.
Yes,
Or and still sometimes we miss those
we do.
and there's that one story that people keep saying all over the place. I hear it over and over where, there's this huge flood and there's this guy on his roof and he's
Yes.
asking God or whatever to save him. And somebody comes in a boat and he goes, no, that's fine. God's going to save me. And another guy comes by in another boat and he's like, hey, you need help? He goes, no, God's going to save me. And then, a helicopter comes by and says, hey, come down. Nope, God's going to save me. And then, he drowns eventually because the
Yeah.
floodwaters get higher and higher. And he's like, well, I thought you were going to save me. And he goes, I gave you two boats and a
Yeah.
helicopter. So,
Yeah.
you've got to be in tune for those breadcrumbs or boats or helicopters that,
Yeah.
are flying in your face, take them, observe them going, this is the synchronicity that's lining up for me to
Yeah.
take action on. Um, it doesn't mean that. So a different scenario would be he has to save himself, so he jumps in the water, starts swimming, and
Yeah.
and that wasn't the answer. He took it
Yeah.
on himself, right? And that's the difference. So to love yourself and ask for signs and know when they're showing up, um, that's when the magic happens. So yeah.
Yeah.
But well, gosh, it's been so great getting back in touch with you, Trianna. I've seen you here and
Yes.
there, and I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna call her and
Yeah.
get her on the show, because I know you've had a lot of things, more and more coming in your life, and wanted to bring you on and also give you an opportunity to share what's going on. But before we get to that, I want you to share, like I have all my guests share, is what's your favorite quote?
And my favorite quote right now is I don't chase, I attract.
Awesome.
That's my favorite quote now, right now. It's
Woo!
it's
I love
hard,
that.
but it's a really good quote.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, because if you're chasing, then you're just going upstream all the
Yes.
time,
All the
and life
time.
seems hard. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and chasing does not feel good at all. Not
No, it
feel good.
doesn't.
Does not feel good. Yeah, let things come to you. Um, it doesn't mean not take action.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not chasing. There's a difference. Chase
Hmm.
is coming from a sense of lack
And force.
and
Yes.
force and hardship and suffering, and I have
Hmm.
to do this and drudgery. But
Yeah.
taking action, inspired action from your higher
Yeah.
self, that's exciting. Like, okay, I'll go do that.
Yes.
That's what that feels like. Like, okay, really? We want to do this next? All right, instead of,
Yes.
oh, I gotta do that now. No, it does not feel like that. It never feels
Yeah.
like that. Your higher self is not going to tell you to do something that you're going to dread. It's going to give you action that actually
Feels
raises your
good.
vibration, build your vibration, right?
Yeah.
So I love that one. Awesome. So I also want to ask you what your happy hack is.
Okay, I hope it fits, but my happy hack to like raise my vibration, this is something I do. And I mean, we all can do this, but it depends. But whenever I feel like I notice I'm feeling low or like I'm all out of sorts,
Yeah.
something always needs to be clean. This is true. So it's like I love cleaning. Cleaning actually really raises my vibration. But
Hmm.
what I like to do is I like to put on headphones sometimes. I can see my phone and if a call comes through, okay, but I just like to kind of shut out everything around me if you can,
Hmm.
and just put my headphones on, find one of my best playlists, and I'll have that on, and then I'll just clean. It makes me feel so good. It gets me out of my mind, stop thinking, and you're cleaning up your surroundings, so you're having like a positive environment, and it's like when I'm cleaning up too, I'm cleaning up myself. It just feels so good.
That
That's
is
my happy
so
sack.
true. That is so true. Because it's so funny whenever I get angry, and yes, I get angry or upset with myself or something or whatever,
Mhm.
I want to go clean something. And everybody
Yes.
knows whenever I'm cleaning, people, what's wrong?
That's how it is sometimes.
Yeah. And even if I'm just doing the dishes that I do every day, for some reason, how whatever the dishes sound, which I don't feel like I'm like breaking dishes or anything, but they're like, what's wrong? I'm like, I'm just putting the dishes away. But yeah, but it makes me feel better. Uh,
Hmm.
that's my go-to, is just go clean something up
Yeah.
and clean up the clutter, clean up the mess, get rid of the dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's almost like it's cleaning me up too
Yeah.
at the same time. So I love, yeah. That is someone
Yes.
that's one that no one has come up with yet so far, and I like it. I like it. I'm gonna add that one. All right. So, um, Trianna, what do you got going on that we can let the listeners know about? So if they want to know more about you or get in touch with you, how can they do that?
Right now, I'm doing one-on-one sessions. Right now, that's what I have going on. They're my thing. I love one-on-one stuff. So I'm a Reiki master and a theta healing practitioner.
Mhm.
And you can work with the one-on-one for single sessions. I do have a month package and then a 3-month program. So
Nice.
it's like if you're really open to receiving the help to help yourself to get to where you want to be, that's where I would come in and you would come see me. Reiki is such beautiful work. I like to think my biggest thing is helping you have a loving healing experience, because let's be honest, like healing is difficult at times. And
Yeah.
sometimes you find yourself alone on that path. And healing through Reiki and Theta, I have my own intuition, and like I'm receiving intuitive guidance for you to give to you from the creator. So it's not just me working on you, it's the creator working through me
Always. Yeah.
to you. Yeah. And it's for me, that's been the biggest help. Like the biggest thing that's got me to where I am is having that connection and
Oh,
that
yeah.
relationship. So yeah, that's a way, that's what I'm doing right now. And the way to get in touch with me is Instagram is my area. So I'm on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram. I'll give you that info, and you
I'll
can
put it
always
right here.
DM me. Yeah, if you have questions, you can always DM me if you have questions.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, it's been such a delight reconnecting with you,
Yes.
Trianna. I just knew we would have that connection back in 2019, and then we reconnected again in 2020.
Yeah.
Um, but even though we haven't really talked, I'm watching you,
Yeah.
because we just, what's going on, because she's got it going on. And I was like, yeah, I just need to call her.
Yeah.
So we definitely, maybe we should just we're in Atlanta area. We should just have lunch one of these days.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
forgot. We can actually go outside now. I forgot. I forgot about this. Let's go.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes. We got to do that. So, well, thank you so much, Trianna. And you're always welcome to come back on the show anytime you've got something new brewing, holler
Yeah.
up, and we'll come back and we'll let everybody know about it. All right.
Yes. Thank you for having me. This is really beautiful.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Create Happy Now podcast. Please be sure to subscribe, and if you are watching on YouTube, hit that notification bell. If you have a topic to suggest, please leave a comment below. Catch the Create Happy Now podcast on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Audible, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Listen Notes, and Podchaser. Check out other YouTube videos on the Create Happy Now YouTube channel. And if you want more, check down below for resources, courses, and events, or go to www.createhappynow.com.